Hey guys, information about the new gameplay mode Bottomless Pit that will release in version 3.1 dropped, and we're gonna go over this. First of all, let me explain one more time what the Bottomless Pit gameplay mode actually is. In version 3.1 we will be able to dive in Reveries in the Rain all the way down to 500 meter. Once you have beaten the 500 meter dive, you will gain access to this new gameplay mode called Bottomless Pit. Here you will face a boss with multiple phases. You can see this here. It is like a further dive. You see 500 meters. So once you have dealt enough damage to this boss, you dive further to 600 meters. Here he enters phase number 2, which means probably he will change around some abilities that he has, but more importantly he changes his afflatus. You can see this in this picture here. 600 meters he will be beast afflatus, then 700 meters he will be mineral afflatus, then plant, spirit, and it will go all the way to 1000 meters, where he will then be from the intellect afflatus. So in version 3.1, one more time, beat the 500 meter dive, then you enter this huge boss fight right here. And first I'm gonna drop all the facts that we know right now for sure about this gameplay mode, and after that we can talk about things a little bit further. Alright, so you enter this huge boss fight and you will deal damage to him, and once you have dealt enough damage he will switch afflatuses and probably also his abilities. What it says here is that you can challenge this mode with up to 6 teams. So that means you could also conquer this fight with like 4 teams or 5 teams. You don't necessarily have to bring 6 teams, but yeah, you can bring up to 6 teams. All these teams will consist of 4 characters, just like we know it. So instead of 5 teams, you now bring 6 if you have them. If you only have 5, you can conquer this with 5 teams. Okay. Now, moving on to the next picture is where things get really interesting, because you can see this meter right here. This is called pressure, and this meter will fill up. Once this meter reaches 100%, it states here that the battle will end for you. Now, this is everything that we know about this gameplay mode. Oh yeah, there is one more thing in fact, because let's say you conquer this with your first team, with any team, and this team, if this team would die, then the second team will continue from this point onwards. The fight will continue until all of your teams, or the boss in fact, would be defeated. Now of course this fight depends a lot on how this meter will fill. We don't know how this meter will fill exactly, since this boss has 6 different phases, 1 for each afflatus, but you don't have to bring 6 teams to this fight, and you could also conquer this with just 5 teams. That means that the meter will not fill by default to 100% once the boss switches his afflatus. So you could beat more than 1 afflatus with 1 team. That makes this really interesting, and I think this means this meter will either fill like per turn, right? The more time passes, the more turns pass, the meter will fill more. That would give you a time limit or a turn limit in which you will have to defeat the whole thing with your 6 teams. What it could also mean though is that you will have to do something specific from keeping this meter to be filled to 100%. It states here again that once this meter reaches 100%, the battle ends. That could either mean the battle truly ends, it's over for you, so you have to prevent this meter from filling to 100% by doing something specific that the battle tells you, or what they could mean here with this battle ends is that just a team dies. You just have to move on to another team, and that would be a way where they would prevent you from cheesing the entire battle here with just one team. That would be a way to force you to bring multiple teams to this battle, which is, I'm pretty sure, what they're going for here. This meter will fill regardless, and it will be like a turn-based or a time thing, right? You will. What I think is you will not be able to prevent this meter from filling to 100%. It will fill to 100% regardless of your actions. You just have to be quick enough. You cannot let too many turns, too much time pass. That's what I believe, right? But yeah, we will have to wait and see on this one. So again, in quick succession, what I think this means here is that you will not be able to prevent this meter from filling to 100%. Once this meter fills to 100%, your team will die, and you will be forced to switch teams out. Now, one of your teams can beat like one, maybe 1.5 afflatuses from this boss, multiple phases, so to speak. And that's the way, if your 5 teams are strong enough to beat this boss in a respectable time manner, then you can beat this battle with like 5 teams. But otherwise, if your teams are a little bit on the weaker side and you don't have like the best in slot teams, that would mean you will be not quick enough here, and you will have to switch. Like, you will have to bring 6 teams in total, and you will not be able to beat it with 5, but beating it with 5 is possible if your teams are actually strong enough. Alright, now we can move on to something that you already see here in the background. Let's take a closer look at this. Here we have it. Looky look. We see Corvis here in the Dynamo lineup, and she replaces Lucy. God damn it. That pretty much confirms that Corvus will be a Dynamo archetype, like, right? It was kind of easy to predict. That's exactly what we predicted as well. And she will be the DPS. Now, here in this picture, as you can see, she replaces Lucy. That doesn't mean you have to necessarily replace Lucy with Corvus, but you could also replace Ulrich. So that pretty much, like, that is the confirmation indeed that version 3.1 will have no character that is a true must pull. It will only consist of, quote-unquote only, consists of characters that you can slot into your teams. We will talk about this more in just a second. There is one more thing here to take away from this picture, and that is that you can see that the entire Dynamo team, all 3 members, right? You see Ulrich, Sharon and Ezra, all 3 of those, they have Dynamos accumulated, while Corvus doesn't have any Dynamos accumulated. That again means one of 2 things. Either she doesn't produce Dynamos, simple as that, or she does produce Dynamos but consumes these Dynamos herself to do something, to be able to use one of her incantations, to increase her damage output, something of that line, right? Something of this sort. Yeah, and that's all about it. We talked about the Bottomless pit mode, we talked about Corvis being confirmed Dynamo DPS. So now let's move on and talk about the version 3.1 in terms of characters a little bit more. Here we are. Let's go and break down how we will use these characters in the teams. and yeah, what these characters are all about and how they can be used, like, efficiently, let me say it like that. Then yeah, let's start off with the Blood Tide team and the first character that is gonna release in form of Robushka. Now, if you watched my previous video, you know all about the second Blood Tide team that can be established thanks to the Robushka release. But you can go another round here, and that is that maybe you're in this scenario that, oh man, it's the second anniversary right now, Nautica is releasing, that's the best character in the game. I don't want to miss out on Nautica. The problem is I don't have the other characters to play her with her team that she so desperately needs to fill the Blood Tide, you know? I don't have Semmelweis, man. Eternity is barely leveled up. What about Medicine Pocket? Should I pick him from the 6-star collector? I'm not too sure. But I'm gonna pull for Nautica regardless right now, because I don't want to miss out on such a broken character. And then I'm gonna build the Blood Tide team as I go. And this is where Robushka comes in. This is the perfect scenario to pull for Robushka. In case you would miss maybe Eternity and Sentinel, put in Robushka there. Maybe you thought like, oh, I don't like Medicine Pocket. I used my 6-star collector on something else and I pulled for Semmelweis on the Euphoria banner, man. Fuck Medicine Pocket, you know? Then put in Robushka, no problem, pull for Robushka in version 3.1. There you go, you will be completely fine. And this is exactly the scenario that continues with every single character here. Let's talk about Corvis. She's now confirmed to be a DPS character for the Dynamo archetype. Maybe you're like, oh, dude, not wasted, but I used all of my resources up. I didn't save up enough resources for the second anniversary, and now I used all my resources on the Nautica pulls. There I got a little bit unlucky and she was a little bit more expensive than I thought she would be, and now I don't have enough to pull for Lucy. But man, I wanna play Dynamo because Sharon is so incredibly busted. I got this monster Ulrich for free. I don't wanna let these characters go to waste. But I can't really play Dynamo when if I don't have Lucy, right? I don't want to build a team around Ulrich. It would be a little bit too lackluster for me. No problem, bro. Pull for Corvis in version 3.1 and slot her into the Dynamo team. Easy as that. And the trend continues here with A-Knight. We have Noah, Centurion, Recoleta, Buddy Fatfuck. All of those characters can be the main DPS for the Ultimate Archetype team. I wasn't around when Noah and Recoleta released. I don't like Centurion, and I don't want to rely on a fat 5-star scroll for my main DPS for the Ultimate Archetype team. We got you covered, dude. Pull for A-Knight on the Euphoria banner, upgrade his Euphoria update if you already have him. There you go, you have a main DPS for the Ultimate Archetype team. Easy as that. The rank up team around Marcus and Via that both were available in the Euphoria banner from the Assassin's Creed collaboration. Man, I have both of those. I either pulled for them, I already had them, I have the Euphoria updates. But, man, I don't have Hisabeth. That was a must-skip character, so I didn't pull for her. Unfortunately, I have Hisabeth because I liked her very much, so I pulled for her. But, man, Mercuria didn't apply to me, didn't speak to me. I skipped her when she released, and I skipped her as well when she had her rerun. No problem. Argus got you covered there. And you see, this is how the characters in version 3.1 work. None of those characters is a must pull. They are all easy skips. Yes, I can already tell you this with 100% certainty. Even though we don't know the numbers, we don't know what Corvis does, we don't know nothing of that. And I'm here telling you with 100% guaranteed, all of these characters are 100% skippable. It's guaranteed, it's confirmed. Believe me or not, you will find it out for yourself in the future anyways. I don't give a fuck anymore, right? After this Assassin's Creed collaboration, where I proved all of you wrong with Ezio. But yeah, that's that's actually a little bit besides the point, right? But it will be the same case here in version 3.1. These characters are skippable, and I can tell you this without numbers, without even knowing what Corvus does, and you will see that I will be proven right once again. And yeah, then again, you don't have to pull for these characters. They are only here just in case you missed out on something like Eternity and Sentinel or Medicine Pocket, pull in Robushka. You hadn't have enough resources to pull for Lucy. Corvis got you covered. You don't have any of those quadrazillion main DPSs for the ultimate archetype. Body Fatfuck does not get the job done for you. Yo, A-Knight got you covered. Here, Hisabeth, Mercuria, I don't have one of these characters. At least, boom, you put in Argus. And this is how version 3.1 will turn out. Concerning the new character Corvus, we can already get hype for future drama. Why? Because people gonna look at Corvus's kit and even test her, then realize, whoa, this character actually looks really nice, and she will even perform really good in testing and kinda crush it. And then jump to the conclusion that Corvus will be an absolute must pull and unskippable. And they will all be, one more time, completely wrong. And let me tell you and explain to you why exactly that is. That is because Corvus will have to either replace the second best main DPS character in the entire game with Lucy, or she will replace or be a substitute for a monster like Ulrich. That already confirms that she has to be a really good character. Otherwise, if she wouldn't be good enough to be a substitute for Lucy or Ulrich, this character wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. It would be a complete waste of time, right? Corvus will be a really good character because she just has to be, as the slots that she will have to fill are already filled with extremely good characters. So that confirms you, Corvus will be really good because she has to be that good. What people will not see and disregard, and again look at Corvus just as an individual character and disregard everything else, like they always do, like they did with Ezio, right? It's a perfect example, and history will repeat itself. They do not realize, they will not look at it like this, that Corvus has to be good, you know? There's no way around it. Otherwise, she couldn't replace Lucy or Ulrich. And they will not see that her spot is contested. She contests a spot with the second best main DPS character in the game and an absolute free-to-play monster. This is what people will not see and take into account when they judge a character like Corvus, and this is where they will go horribly wrong one more time, and drama will ensue, and they will again attack me and come at me, and I will take a shit on them once again, just like I did with Ezio. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, so get hyped for that. And there's of course one more possibility that, like, surrounding Corvus and how she could turn out. Now you can see this with version 3.0 and also 3.1. There is a trend here that we get characters that are skippable but are slot-ins, right? In case you missed a character for a really good team, they give you characters now to fill the void. And this we could continue going this route, which would mean we will get more and more characters for the Dynamo archetype team. And that could mean that Corvus is the beginning of a second Dynamo archetype team. She will be the main DPS character for the second Dynamo archetype team that we will be able to build with future characters. That is a very, very high possibility here. So you could look at Corvis at a future investment, although us not knowing the future, this is a little bit of a risk. To really judge that one, we actually have to see her kit beforehand, because maybe she can even be played outside of Dynamo and still be really, really strong, because individually she would be a very great character for the reasons that I explained. And if that would be the case, if she would be playable outside of Dynamo and still be a really good main DPS, where the chances are not too low to actually be the case, then it is a future investment, right? If we look at Corvus like that, that would actually make her a viable pull. But yeah, I mean, I explained everything, and that's about the video, guys. I hope this was fun and informative. If you like Reverse1999 content in general, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I would really appreciate that. But until next time, don't forget to join the Discord server. Take care of yourselves, have a great day, and we love this game.